Hi Morgan, good evening, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. Tim is in the house. Hi Swaggy. I'm currently smoking my 55 shape from Moretti pipes from Marco, and in it I'm smoking a mix of Donald Navy rolls and Escudo, which I mixed in July. Hi Tickety Boo and James Kelly. So I mixed that back in July, and hi Joe Fish. I was hoping that it would be a bit of a Pipes and Pictures, good evening. I was hoping it would be a bit of a blockbuster vapor, but so far not really delivering. And truth be told, that when I mixed it, the Escudo was straight out of the tin. Loretta pipes, even Moretti pipes are fantastic. Yes, they are, James. I've still got one which I haven't smoked yet from him, which I got at the same time, the Bulldog. Three spicy nuns. Which colour is it, Tim? Yeah, auto spell is a nightmare. I think many relationships have suffered as a result of spell check. I should get a lantern to put over here. Everybody seems to be using lanterns these days after 2 AM on the porch. That sounds very good, Tim. Is that the 3 nuns and you've added the perique yourself? The Garth Hogarth perique? Killarney. Sounds like the original, yeah, sounds like the original 3 nuns. It's my pleasure, Joe. Enjoy them. Hi, Meeks. So that the 3 nuns, is that Kentucky that it's got in it? The orange, the original, I suppose you can call it, although it's not the original, but the current iteration of 3 nuns. Is that Virginia, Kentucky? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, see, adding the perique is good. I must say that the Garth Hogarth perique, I've been using it like a condiment on so many blends. I really enjoy it. It's absolutely great stuff. I think I'm assuming it's Louisiana perique that they use, because it's really just tasty, tasty stuff. It's like, you know, adding ketchup to your fish and chips. Yeah, absolutely, Tim. It's fantastic quality. So there's a few blends that I've been wanting to try, but I've kind of also been wanting to just work my way through some of the open stuff. But Highland Deutsch. I've never tried this stuff. The 1792 flake, a dark Kendall flake. This one's from 2014, so it's got a little bit of age on it. This is courtesy of Danny Shaw. I've had these 2 on my desk for a while now, waiting to be tried. This is opening night from Cornell and Deal, and Mike Mike has been pushing me to try this Game Cop Piper. Hi Chris, good evening. Hi Smooth Piper. Meeks, hi. You lurk, feel free. And Laurel Heights. So these are Virginias which Mike Block has been pushing me to try, because I think they're basically red leaf Virginias. So I think that this is just a straight Virginia blend, and this one also red and bright Virginias pressed to perfection. And then there's that. I hear that's very strong. Have you smoked this, Tim? Are you familiar with it? I don't know about the Butera and the Esoterica, but in Jermaine's I'm going to beg to differ with you on that one, Tim, because I got this from the horse's mouth. I spoke to Robert Germain himself, and I asked him to help me with the dating. So I can't get it more accurate than that. And with Germain's, unless it's before the current one. Okay, right. So maybe before 2016. Yeah, that could be. Yeah. So the B is now. The B, the letter is the year. So B is for 17 and it goes on from there, C being 18, D being 19. This is Laurel Heights. I think it's got quite a similar label, and this is Opening Night. Both Virginia blends which Mike Blocker has been pushing me to try. And I also want to give this Pelican, again also from Danny Shaw. It did, Tim, it did match this, but I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, because it would seem superfluous for them to have the number and the letter. So I have to check that with some other tins. And this is the one which kind of I was trying to understand the dating from. This Butera. And the number in the corner there presumably has some kind of coding in there. So these are the tins which I'm kind of debating to try. Alright, so you're saying that the 4 on that one is the year. Okay, cool. So that's the Pelican, 1792, Opening Nights, and the Laurel Heights. Sandro, hi, how you doing? Happy New Year to you, sir. Go for it, Ben. How you doing? Good evening. Well, Opening Night, if that's a Spice of Virginia, that's right up my alley. Very good, Ben, very good. But it's good to know beforehand to get an idea if it's something you want to leave to stew a bit longer, or especially if you've got more than one tin, although I don't have different age tins of these. What I like about this is seeing these little sort of identities as to show where this has been. So I know it started off in the Jersey Isles, being made by J.F. Germain, gone to Orango, Illinois, and then Ewan Reese. It's just nice to see a little bit of the journey that this tobacco has taken. Yeah, so I understand that it is a really full-on tobacco. What's the flavour profile of this? Anybody know? I think there is some kind of topping on this. I think I read on tobacco reviews that it's Tonkin and rum. Does that make sense to anyone? Yeah. So, but it's not a Lakeland or anything like that, is it? So it's no granny pants in sight. Luke, all you've got to do is ask a question. People would want to know what kind of advice you want. They're not going to just be able to send you generic advice, because people would want to know what advice to give you. Feel free to ask questions here. If I can help, I will, or other people will. It has some Lakeland. Okay, well, I don't think I'm going to try that tonight. I don't like Lakelands. It's not surprising it hasn't been smoked since 2014. So I've got to be honest, this, not by comparison to other Lakelands possibly, I hear that. So I mixed this in July. It's Dunhill Navy Rolls and Escudo. And as I said earlier, it's really not working for me at all. Both good vapors, and the Dunhill Navy Rolls I found to be extremely smooth and mild, so I thought the Escudo would give it a bit of a kick up the butt, which it has done to some extent, but it certainly added a harshness to it, a bitterness almost. I don't know if that's just that particular batch of Escudo, or because the Escudo came straight out of the tin and it was a relatively fresh batch, so I'm just wondering whether that should have been left for a few years before using. So I don't know, maybe if I just leave this in the jar for a year or two, I'm sure it'll improve anyway. The Sheraton blends, I've only had one so far and I've been extremely impressed by it. The Sheraton rolls I've had so far, which is the Dunhill Navy Roll equivalent. Signalman, good evening. So this is the Dunhill Navy, this is the Sheraton version, and it's going to be, it looks exactly the same as lots of the other medallion styles, luxury bullseye flake, and all the other ones which have got a Cavendish bullseye. The Dunhill Navy Rolls doesn't have Cavendish, doesn't have a Cavendish bullseye. But I have to say that I've really enjoyed it. Good evening, Aces. Good evening, Pirate. Good evening, Tree. Good evening, Joe. Thanks for joining. So we're down to the Pelican, Opening Night, and Laurel Heights. Somebody said before that one of them was spicy. Which one was it? Swaggy P, where are you based? In the US? Well, if you're saying that, I'm going to assume you're in the US. Snakes in the road. US, right, so yeah, I can understand why you're having trouble getting the Dunhills. Dark-fired Kentucky, Virginia Family Burley. What's that land? Not with you. Speaking of dark-fired Kentucky, I've not yet tried the HH Old Dark-fired or the Dark-fired Kentucky, any of those. Not really sure why not. I should really try them because I have been enjoying Kentucky, although I've been enjoying it as part of blends. So like, what's it called? McBaron's Dark Twist. That's very nice. That's got a bit of Kentucky in there, and I've added Perique to mine, as you know, and that's really very, very tasty. So I'm so interested in the Laurel Heights / Okay, my main social media for pipes, cigars, and whiskey is Instagram. If anyone's interested, pipes_cigars_whiskey. Okay, we'll try to remember to look you up. Mine is Smoky Sim. Sir Andy Kluber, hello from Terre Haute. Old Dark Friday is a regular smoke in my rotation. I prefer the bulk Broken Flake. Okay. You're following me, Simon. Okay, cheers. I shall have to look you up, Luke. So we're saying the Laurel Heights, yeah? Is that what we said? Opening night is a bit rough, Snake said. Somebody else commented before. Joe Fish, opening night, found it quite a spicy Virginia. Okay. Alright, so I'm not in the mood for a Latakia at the moment, so I'm going to leave the Pelican out as well. There were a few other also rans I was considering tonight, but I kind of, these also came from Danny Vanna's mixture. I'm not sure what that is. I haven't looked it up yet. Robert McConnell Latakia Flake and Tsuge Summer Daydream and Out of Office Whiskey Pipe Tobacco. This it sounds like a very American style aromatic. Incorporates a select blend of smooth, bite-free, yeah, right, American white burleys with an understated top flavour made with fine whiskey. The taste is not over the top. Okay, and the aroma is soft and very gentle. All right, I've got to be honest, I'm not big into aromatics every so often, but Tsuge. A thicket of summer grass is all that remains of the dreams of ancient warriors. Matsuo Basho. Made exclusively for Drew Estate. Okay. By Scandinavian STG. What do you know? Pelican isn't all that special. The last time I had it was, and I wasn't that impressed with it either, to be honest. But this one, you know, having that bit of age, maybe it smoothed it out a bit and so on. The last time I had Pelican was probably 6 months into smoking a pipe. I had a bowl or two and gave it away, believe it or not. My palate was very immature at that stage, still is probably, by some comparison to some people. We won't mention any names, Ben. But yeah, I wasn't that impressed with it myself, so perhaps I'll leave that one anyway. Andrew Sirigliano, how you doing? Thank you for joining. Just popping in to say hi. Hi. Laurel Heights is a tiny bit of Latakia in it. Has it really? Has it really? No. Let's read it again. Rich Ripe. Red leaf forms the base of this wonderful Virginia blend. The flavors are deep and round with a smooth natural sweetness and subtle notes of orange peel. Ooh, orange peel, roasted oats, leather, and peat. Who's Pete? The smoke develops richness as it progresses, delivering a long, clean finish that is never cloying or syrupy, with hints of malt and grapefruit. For lovers of dark and natural unstoved Virginias. There's too many flavours here being described, and I always find that a little bit worrying. And Dale Piper, good evening, how are you? Matches, good evening, John, how are you? I enjoyed your Friday night live, although I didn't get it live, but a nice chit chat. Okay, so it's really down to these two people, Laurel Heights or Opening Night. Crack one of these. I've never had either of them. So bear in mind that I really enjoy McClelland Red Virginias, spicy Christmas cheers and 40th anniversary and all that kind of stuff. Which one's gonna set me on fire? Come on, you guys. Let's hear from you guys who have tried this stuff. Ben, you're so poetic. Alright, so we'll go for Opening Night then, shall we? Alright. Ben's vote takes. $2018. When is it from? April. Alright, it's not terrible. Yeah, okay, Tree. Patience. Patience is a virtue. Alright, here we go. Snake says that needs about 10 more years. Dry as hell, you reckon? I don't have a problem with it being dry. It smells like a Virginia. I must say, I do not like these four-way flaps. They really get on my nerves and they cut my fingers off getting past that metal there. Come on. Nice broken flake. A very nice fruity. It's got a nice fruity aroma. Quite bright. Some darker ones in there, but mostly quite bright, to be honest. It's not dry as hell, that's for sure. And hell must be a pretty dry place, I must be honest. But there's some humidity in there, to be honest. If every single tobacco tin I cracked felt like this, I'd be very happy. Because it means that you don't have to hang around too long. You break it up a little bit. I do like a bit of a thicker, dry heat, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is pretty much good to go out of the tin. Just give it another whiff. Excuse me. Alright, I think I'm going to smoke it in my own pipe that I made. You guys have seen this, no doubt. Made this over the holiday period. Nice plateaued. LC18 number 4. My other two pipes that I made, I've sent off to Mike Billington at Blakemar Briars to have some stems made. I really, I find myself these days lying in bed and just kind of sort of night dreaming, like daydreaming but at night, about where I'm going next with the pipe making. as I've said, I don't really want to invest majorly in something which I may not end up sort of taking up in a big way. So I really want to do it with baby steps, and I can't decide whether a drill press, a combined sander, which is like a disc sander and a belt sander combined, or even to think about a lathe possibly. I don't know. I find it difficult. Hi, Suffolk. I'm really not sure which way to go. I've had a look at somebody pointed out. Is it OCD Pipe or somebody else, something Piper, who's got a couple of videos on how to make a pipe using a drill press, using hole saws. You know, the drum-shaped saws. Hi, PA Piper. And when I saw that, I thought, yeah, I could do that. You know. Sorry, Chris, can't keep everybody happy. Next time, or maybe after this bowl, we'll go for that one, depending if you're still here. So maybe we'll crack both tins tonight. We'll see how we go. So when I saw the video of, you know, making a pipe with a drill press, I thought, yeah, I could do that. And I thought I'd give that a go. And the truth of the matter is, a drill press is a very useful tool to have in any event. You can attach loads of stuff to it and use it. You know, you can attach drum sanders to it, which is an advantage. Although I don't know how good that will be to have sort of dust shavings flying all over the place. I've got no sort of form of official extraction in my garage. Last time I tried hooking up a vacuum cleaner, and it didn't really work. So that's a bit of an issue for me. I've got to consider about that for the future, for my own health as well, as all that dust flying around. Captain Cavendish, good evening. Thank you for joining. So there's that. I think the lathe, I'm intimidated. I am intimidated by the lathe, and I've watched many videos, and I keep watching videos about lathe setups. And whenever I watch videos about setting up a lathe, it's always the chuck is already on, the blocks are already on, and they show you how they're doing the turning, and that's fine. You know, you want to know how to turn. But I use a dust mask. I do use a dust mask, but it makes your glasses mist up, and it's not always great. But anyway, I might have to get one of these big face mask things, and that might be easier. And I've been trying to find some good videos of how to. I did find one guy recently, but really trying to find some good videos on how to set up your lathe, you know, with a pipe type chuck. You can find plenty of setup videos for lathes generally, but to set it up with a chuck which is suitable for a pipe, I've yet to find one which is really instructional. But I'm sure we'll get there. And the truth of the matter is, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and I just need to at some point I'll have to just take the dive and get it and try it and play with it. And, you know, it's obviously the main tool to go for when it comes to turning pipes. So I guess at some point that will happen. But again, to invest in a lathe, there's no point getting $100 lathe. You know, a lathe is something that, if it's not right and it's not going to last you once you get a little bit proficient at using it, it's a waste of money. It's like that with everything, and it ends up being chucked on the side. Then you end up investing in you know, depending on how far you're going to go with the pipe making, you could end up investing in a couple of grand in a lathe. But it seems to me, based on the minor research that I've done, I've got to spend about £300 to £400 on a lathe, which I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that yet. Landboach Simon, sorry, Cornell and Deal tobacco available in the UK? No, it's not. No, this is from America. There is one site that does occasionally have a couple of tins. It's extremely expensive. I have no idea how they're actually. Yes, Tree. I've watched plenty of wood turning videos, but I'm looking for ones which specifically for setting up the chuck and you know, really from the word go. And it's kind of leading me to think that there's actually not much to it, and therefore people haven't found it necessary to do such videos. I don't know. So yeah, so it's really a question of, to me, the sander seems to make more sense. At the moment, I'm working on a sanding disc off a drill, which is attached on a, what's the word? I can't remember the word, but anyway, it's attached to a drill. Hi Art, good evening, Pipes and Spirits. Nice Captain Black jar there from Eric and Ben. Very, very nice, Ben. So yeah, so it's either the sanding disc or the drill press, and I'm thinking to myself that, yeah, that's a good idea, James. That's a good idea. And I'm thinking that the sanding tool, the sanding combined sander, probably makes the most sense, because even if I make a pipe with a drill press, I'll still need to sand it. I still need to use the sander. So, having said that, I could get the drill press and still use the sanding disc on my drill. So you see my dilemma at the moment, anyway. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing that, Ben. It's a very good idea. So I've sent him those 2 pipes to make stems. What I'm planning to do is to call him on Monday and ask him, number one, if he wouldn't mind telling me when he thinks he's going to do it, and I'll come up, because it's a couple of hours for me to get there, or an hour and a half, and I'll come up there and watch him do it if he'd allow me to. I'd love to watch him doing it, and then also to, really maybe ask him if he wouldn't mind showing me how he sets up the chuck and so on. From what I've seen, certainly on the American sites, the American channels, the pipe carvers generally are really happy to share their knowledge. So I'm hoping that will be the case. I see no reason why not, anyway, why he wouldn't be happy to share it. Jose, good evening. PA Piper, let me just see if I've missed any questions. Yeah, it looks like Morgan has answered your question there, PA Piper. Coolio. Right, let's get this opening night's opening scene going. It's actually got a relatively small bowl, this pipe. It's quite deep, but quite narrow. So we're going to go for around a half a bowl, as you do. Harriet Herfer is in the house. Good evening, Harriet. Enter stage right. Yes, absolutely. And we might go for an encore at the end as well. See you, Rifat. Thanks for joining. Clipper. Cherry on top. Welcome. Didn't see you though. Right, where's my tamper? Here we go. Easy to miss. With that red blob on your head, shouldn't be. Initial flavours. Talk amongst yourselves, please, gentlemen and lady. Well, topping or not, a little bit early days to say. Just got to let the blend settle in. Well, on the first few draws, it reminds me very much of Samuel Gawith's Brown Flake and stuff like Solani, that kind of thing. At the moment, Solani Silver Flake, or 633 as it's known. St. Bruno. Art, I was just watching your video earlier on the lovely gift that you got from Messrs. Blue Collar and Codger. The smooth piper is smoking some velvet. You enjoy smoking that velvet? It's grass is greener, isn't it, Ben? We say the same about the stuff over in the US. In the US, you know, the stuff that we can't. Which version of oh dear me. Which version of Captain Black is your go-to, Art? Pipes etc. has internet again. It's a conspiracy. Where's Josh when you need him? Mr. Conspiracy. The Russians did it. Yes, most definitely. I think they probably got wind of all the instruments you've got on your desk. They must have realised that you're spying on them. 10 Russians, yeah, good one, PA. Okay, so as far as spice is concerned, on this opening night, the Retro Hill is a blast of spice, that's for sure. It's got a nice peppery kick on the Retro Hill. Flavour wise, for me personally, it's pretty thin. It's very bright. Well, there you go, a delicious blend of red and bright Virginias. Okay, I'm not a bright Virginia type of person, generally speaking. I'll smoke it, but it's not my chosen preference. Let me see the description on Laurel Heights. No, I haven't searched that cherry on top, and I will. Thank you very much for that. Any help and advice I could get, I'd be more than grateful to receive. Did someone say grump? Is Josh in the house? It's like saying candy 3 times, and there he is. You were mentioned in dispatches, Josh. The word conspiracy came up. What's that, Art? What's POV? Night, Suffolk. Thanks for joining. Just a pinch. Oh, cool. Just a pinch of Virginia. Okay, that's the one I've learnt today. You learn something new every day. Cool. Just a pinch of Virginia. Pov. So if I tell somebody to pov, he'll know to go and get a pinch of Virginia. I've heard you talk about red carpet before. Art, what is red carpet? What type of tobacco is that? You just made it up, did you? Well, it belongs to this group then, that phrase. A very Freudian typo, and a great one too. Point of view, yes. I can think of other words to add to those initials, but I'll keep them to myself. Anyone bidding on a Radice at the moment on eBay? No, but there's probably going to be now. Strong vinegar smell, right? A bit like McClellan's. Well, I would imagine, I hope certainly, that this stuff will improve with age. But it's not really, it's nice. It's not a bad tobacco. It's just not doing it for me. Chris, are you still there? Chris Morley? I think you'll get your wish, and we'll try the Laurel Heights in a minute. In fact, what I'm going to do is put some out. I might end up giving some of this away because I've got too much stuff open at the moment, far too much. Yes, Art, we got the memo, but I'm currently behaving myself under strict instruction from Mike at Briar Blues. As per my video on Friday. Oh, nothing like room temperature coffee. Morgan, it's just my take on it. You know, you might love the stuff. Absolutely, that's what I did. No, look, at the end of the day, nobody can tell you what to do. Everybody does what they want. Yeah. Your wife certainly can. And does, no doubt, as does everybody else's. See now, that description, right? I'll just repeat some of it. Subtle notes of orange peel, roasted oats, leather and peat. And then you get a clean finish with hints of malt and grapefruit. Do I get my money back if I don't get those flavours? That's what I want to know. Okay, let's pop this tin. I've got to say, GLPs, when I read his articles in Pipe and Tobacco magazine, I do like where he comes from. You know, when you read somebody's, whatever it might be, their production, their anything of the written word, you can sometimes get an idea of where they're speaking from. Can't say that you're going to get an idea of what their character is, but when you read something, you get an idea of their trying to find the right word. But when people put their particular character onto paper, and essentially what I'm trying to say is, in a really awkward kind of way, is that when I've read stuff that he writes, I relate to it, is what I'm saying. Sometimes you get people writing articles with such flowery, descriptive languages, and words, which, it's just too much. And I just find the way he writes is really, it's sarcastic actually a lot. But when he's talking about his pipe collection or his tobacco and things like that, you get an idea that he's obviously passionate about it. But anyway, let's have a look. Yeah, another fruity one, not as deep. Ooh, that's a bit of a ribbon. This is a much smoother smelling, milder aroma, but still a typical fruity kind of Virginia. Dave, I think Harriet is waving to you in triplicate. Yeah, if you watch my videos on cigars, it's very rare for me to describe any of them with any of these kind of exotic flavors, and generally speaking, very sort of straight descriptions which anybody can relate to. Yeah, Union Square is one that I still want to try as well. This is interesting because it's got that fruity aroma, but there's a little something on top, at the top end. But I think it's a little bit more apricot-y, the aroma. Yeah, it's a little bit of a brighter aroma, and a little bit more moisture in this one. A little bit of drying time, and these should burn really well. So a fine ribbon cut. It reminds me very much of First Responders. And that is by, I think that's also C&D, isn't it? Telegraph Hill. I think I have a sample of that from was it Mike that sent me those samples? I think it was Mike Blocker, Gamecock Piper. Thank you, Art. Somebody's going to get him the message. Ah, he's seen it. Hugh, Harriet, Hugh. Don't get too close to Harriet. You might end up being perforated. Hugh is in the house. Does that mean I have to show myself? Well, that pipe rest I was very generously given by Pipe Tree. Very generous of him. After I auctioned off my other little doggy, which is now resting over in the States by Art Pipes and Spirits. Yes, it is a Wade, and your dog is better. Yeah, fair enough. It certainly is. But you know, sometimes I think to myself, you know, should I have sold it? Shouldn't I have sold it? But you know what that does? It makes me just feel so pleased to be part of the YTPC. Just imagining that it was on my desk for a good while, and it's now sitting in the States by somebody else that I'm good friends with, a great guy, and he's enjoying watching it on his desk. And that is just, it's just, I don't know, I just find that fantastic. Might sound a bit wussy, but it just, I just, no, it's okay. Art, you look after it and enjoy it. I just think that's a cool thing. You know, it's, I don't know where else in the world, you know, people talk about, you know, the greatness of the community, the warmth and the generosity. We all talk about it every so often. But I've yet to find another community on YouTube or anywhere that's as brotherly and sisterly as it's called, Brothers of the Leaf and Sisters of the Leaf. You know, and I think that's why people get so passionate about it and so dedicated to it and so addicted to it, because it really just gives you a discrete existence almost from your day-to-day life. And discrete as in separate, not as in hidden. And it's almost like every time you get into the YTPC, whether it's on a live, or whether it's just watching other people's videos, or just smoking a tobacco which somebody gifted to you, or a pipe, or seeing somebody else smoke a pipe that you gave them, you're connected all the time, and everybody's intermingled and interwoven, and it really is a fantastic family. And you can always, even if you're on your own, you can always feel part of a group when you're smoking a pipe. And it's just it's an exceptional situation. Sandra needs some whiskey. No one at work knows that you smoke a pipe. Artful codger, I'm assuming you're referring to the perpendicular pronoun. Or you're not, or you mean everybody knows because you've always got a pipe in between your teeth. I must be honest with you, I have yet to come out, for want of a better word. Obviously my own family knows that I smoke a pipe, I smoke all the time, but my parents, I think, I have mentioned it to my brother, and to both of my brothers actually. My parents, I'm pretty sure, know that I smoke a pipe, but I've never smoked in front of them. And I've said this before, that when I I feel like a kid in school smoking behind the, having a sneaky fag behind the shed, that kind of thing. I still feel like a little kid when I'm in front of my parents, and I think I'm pretty sure that they know. Actually, I might have once said something, because I remember once coming into my mum's apartment, and my mum said, "It smells of smoke." I said, "Yeah, I just had a pipe." And I think that's the only time I ever said it. And she didn't, Tim, no, I don't think he knows, Tim. So I mentioned that I smoked a pipe. That's the only time, actually, that's the only time I ever said it. And so they do know, I'm pretty sure they know. And I think my brothers have mentioned it to them. But out of respect, I have never smoked a pipe in front of them. And I've never gone to them, besides for that one time, which was by mistake. I've never gone to them smelling of tobacco. I always make sure that I'm clean and fresh set of clothes, because I just don't want to irritate them. But at work, people do know that I smoke, because I walk in the morning reeking of either a pipe or a cigar. You guys know that one of my favorite ways to smoke is in the car. Sweet chicken. Oh, is Mel in the house? Crazed Night, welcome. What would you recommend? What's the question? Hi, David Dixon. Sorry if I've missed a few of you out. Hang on. Crazed Night. Crazed Night. What are you asking there, my friend? Well, when I'm out with my family, Ben, I do. When I go out for the day or whenever it is, I enjoy it. Smoking, and I actually like that people look and see, hang on, I remember those. And some people, you see a little glint in their eye or a little smirk shaping on their mouth. But I always smoke in public when I can. Not as a statement of rebellion or anything like that. It's just that, number one, I enjoy being able to smoke outside. And yeah, why not? Why the hell not? Your first smoke, brand new to pipes and pipe smoking. What are you smoking tonight, Crazy Night? Which pipe should we smoke? Smooth pipe. I don't think it's the pipe that they're smiling at. I think it's your visage. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which one should we go for? We'll go for the Escorty. I'm really bad. I leave these filters in till the next time I smoke them. I'm such a naughty, naughty, naughty boy. You enjoy your dinner, Jim? See, that's really dried out so super quickly. It's really bang on ready to smoke now. Garbage Man Piper Sweet Chicken. The most generous giveaway practitioner on the YTPC is in the house. Alright people, Laurel Heights. So, the flavours we are promised, as we said, are subtle notes of orange peel, roasted oats, leather and peat, Malt and grapefruit. Okay. Sweet boiled chicken. Gamecock Piper, you too are mentioned in dispatches. Gamecock Piper and I did a little tradey-wadey a bit earlier on. And I shall be getting my hands on some mature Virginia. Thank you for answering my call, Gamecock. If anybody else has got some they want to trade, I'll be up for it. No, GLPs is also not. Generally speaking, American tobaccos, except for some of the bulks, they're not available in the UK. Thank you, Gamecock, because I'll tell you why. I opened up recommendation so far. So the opening night we just I've had a bowl of that, or half a bowl of that, and it's a really nice, but for me a straight Virginia. I didn't particularly enjoy it. I didn't dislike it, but it's not really up my alley. This one is already tasting a bit better, the Laurel Heights, than the opening night. Somebody else said that I should try the Union Square. Well, I'll send you that. I've got 2 of these if you want. See, this one straight away has got flavors, has got sweetness, other than just straight grass. When I started that one, the opening night, initially all I got was straight Virginia, grassy, classic Virginia flavors, which is nice, but it's not my cup of tea. Yeah. Harriet, I've worked that one out. Pretty damn good. Father Dempsey's got quite a following. Not tried it myself, but it's got quite a following. Now this is a nice tobacco. Crazed the Night, I would also recommend, which I've recommended to quite a few people, if you're not quite sure whether you like aromatics, Virginias, is to try Erinmore. Erinmore I find is a very lightly cased Virginia kind of blend, and it's a good way in. You could do worse than try that. It's possible that you did, Gamecock. I did try some of them. I may have even done a first impressions, but I do find sometimes when you get samples in a bag, some of the flavors transfer and they get confused and muddied. And I didn't get this flavor if I did try it. Hey John Meadows, hi Elwood. Yeah, Erinmore, 100% Ben. It's just a good way into to a whole realm of different tobaccos, you know. So far, excuse me, so far I wouldn't have known that there's Latakia in there if you told me so, if you hadn't told me so. And I'm surprised it doesn't mention it. So there's richness, there's sweetness. Yeah, I guess so, leather and peat, fair enough. It's actually getting richer and richer as I get further down the bowl. And there's a certain bite on the back of the mouth. It's quite a full-on blend, actually. It's interesting. No, Erin Moore's not a Lakeland at all, not in my experience anyway. I get fairly middle of the road Virginia with a little pineapple flavour. That's what I get. Some people laughed at me when I said that. Some people said that it was just subliminal messages that I was getting from the tin art, and that's absolutely not the case. And I did hear somebody else say pineapple, which really I felt very reassured when I heard somebody else say that in a video. It's interesting. This, to smoke it, when you draw it in, the flavours in the mouth are there. They're nice. They're certainly fuller than the opening nights, and certainly more complex than opening night. But it's all in the retrohale. Seriously, I mean, I say this about so many tobaccos, but it really is. You take the retrohale in this, it just takes it up to another level. Orlick Golden Sliced. I haven't smoked it on its own for a long time, which I do intend to do again soon. I think I've got one tin left, so I really want to try and get some more. I've got one regular sort of current production, and I've got one very old tin from I think the 1990s or the 20 or the noughties, something like that. I've smoked one tin. I had 2 tins of that, which I got in the Israti sale. The first tin I mixed with Virginia Woods to make my first ever batch of London Fog, and I was absolutely hooked on London Fog for a long time, as you guys know. I mean, I hardly ever smoke it now because I've just got so many other things to try. But I then subsequently made more London Fog using current Orlick Golden Sliced, and it was pretty much the same. So I didn't want to waste the aged Orlick Golden on mixing it, so I've just kept it. But there is a difference between that stuff and the current stuff. I think that the current stuff has got burley in it, or it's the opposite way around. I forget which, but one of them has got perique and one of them has got burley. The older stuff, I can't remember which one's which. Maybe the current one's got perique and the older one's got burley. I forget. I can't really say, Art, if pressing the tobacco speeds the aging, because I've not done it for long enough to be able to say. But what I can say is that the stuff that I've pressed has, each time I've tried it, has been better than the previous time. And it definitely does, it seems to help the marrying process. I don't know if it'll help the aging process, but it helps the marrying process. When you put the 2 tobaccos in such close proximity under pressure, it definitely seems to amalgamate the flavours quicker. Whether that means it ages it quicker or not, I can't say. But the one I've had fantastic success with there's 2 of them. One of them is the GQ Tobacco's Asquith mixture, which, as you know, you now get it in kit form, and you have to mix it yourself. And originally, when Asquith mixture was sold, it was sold as a cake. So that's what I wanted to do, and that's how I originally got to talking to Josh, and Josh made me that press. A fantastic job he's done on it. And so the first one I pressed was the Asquith, and it's fantastic. The Asquith is really what turned me on to Perique. The Asquith mixture has got a high percentage of Perique. The average, from what I understand, the average vapor has got about 7 to 10% Perique, and this one's got something like 15 to 20% Perique. And it really did switch me onto Perique. The next one I pressed was the dark twist with Perique, and that also is just delicious. When you open the jar, just opening the jar is such a wonderful aromatic experience, and it's not an aromatic tobacco. Where is it? Bear with. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Okay, by the way, John, matches, I took your advice on the Penzance and smoked it. It was pretty good. That rusty tin that we talked about last time. It's pretty dry, so I've put a couple of Boveda bags in there just to give it some moisture. Just see if it's moistened up a little bit. No, it's still pretty crispy. I don't know how long I'll need to leave it in there for, but I better not. The more I touch it, the more it crumbles up to dust. So that's got to stay. So this is the Asquith. Mr. I Am Man Commando. This is all I've got left of the Asquith. That smells great. GLP's Meridian? Nope, never had, never have. So this is the dark twist and Perique. So I've got roughly 10% Perique in this one. Oh, it just smells so chocolatey. Don't know why, but it just smells chocolatey. This is the pressing that I made. A little cake. Hi Ben, old soul, how you doing? I don't know. Let me see if I can grab my old tin of All It Golden Slice. I think one of them does say on it the components, which are different. Here we are. It was in my drawer all the time. So this is an older tin, and your one looked like this, Ben. So it's got burley in it, not Perique. A delightful blend is composed of golden and full-body Virginia tobaccos with a touch of burley. I think the current ones have some Perique in them. I just couldn't remember which way around it was. Yeah, in terms of arrows, I did when I first started. I smoked a lot of aromatics. I smoked a lot of Boswell aromatics. I smoked No Bite Delight for quite some time. I do find that Boswells are pretty good. I thought they were amazing initially, but you do get, as you get down the bowl, you do get a little bit of that artificial flavour coming through, which I think you're going to get with a lot of aromatics, except when you try some of the exceptional ones like Erinmore and you know, the tobaccos which are really tobaccos with a slight casing, like what Matches was talking about in his live on Friday night. Sorry, one sec, Ben. Just opened the 11-year-old tin of oil companies. Don't get any pre at all compared to the new fresher tin, like straight Virginia. Yeah, so the older versions have burley in them, not perique, and the current ones apparently have perique, but you probably don't really taste the perique very much. So I think if you look on tobacco reviews, I think there's kind of discussion about whether there really is perique on there. It might be listed as having some, but a lot of the reviews kind of debate as to whether there is perique in there or not. Are you saying that in the newer ones you do get perique? You taste perique in there? This Laurel Heights, I have to say, it's quite a punchy blend. Hi Michael, evening. We're not up to cigars as yet. It is quite a punchy, quite strong, not in strength, sorry, it's quite full, quite rich. There's a little bit of a peppery note at the back of the mouth. There's certainly a spicy retrohale on it. Now, orange peel. You know what? I think I could say that I could, if I really stretched it, I could say that I'm getting a hint of orange peel. Roasted oats. Not really. Leather and peat. I could say I'm getting a bit of the peat. Leather, I suppose it's quite similar, so... if I didn't know different, I would say there's a bit of burley in here as well. I taste a bit of burley rather than latakia, but it could just be a mild latakia. But I'm just going to have a quick look on tobacco reviews. Virginia latakia, really? I guess that's Latakia that I'm tasting, but it's not. I'm not getting that sort of sweet smokiness. I'm just getting, yeah, maybe that's just the peatiness part of it. I'm not getting a general Latakia flavour as such. Francesco, how you doing, Francesco? Didn't see you there before. Gustavo, hello to you too. I'm just going to look back and see who I've missed. John Meadows, in case I didn't say hello. Hello. Hello from Italy, Francesco. How are you today? Oh, are they? Trolls? Fair enough then. What makes you say that Francesco is a troll? Briar Boy is in the house. Hello. I thought Perique was a process rather than being grown as such. I thought it was a fermenting process. It certainly tastes that way. Cheers, Josh. Have a good one. Yeah, fermenting process is what I thought. How you doing, Briar Boy? What pipe are you smoking tonight? Out of your very amazing collection. Still probably the best array of African meerschaums that I've seen on the YTPC. Right, well, I'm certainly veering to your opinion there, Tim. Pipes and pictures. Yeah, well, I've got one of those myself, a little Frankenstein jar. This one here sits at the foot of my desk on the floor, and you can see it's a big old thing. And it's been there for I don't know how long. Every so often I go through my doggy bags and chuck them in here. And I added some No Bite Delight, and that's what I smell. No Bite Delight has got quite a strong, pervasive aroma. But when I smoked it, it just tasted like it should, a mixture of everything. Eric Ramkison from Barking. Barking as in down on the A13. Well, my understanding of Perique is that you take a tobacco and process it and ferment it in order for it to be called Perique. Yeah, that's a good one, James. Yes, I can do. At the moment, I've not seen anything too untoward. But for now, the last time I saw some real trolls getting down and dirty was on Ghost Cobs Live a while back. Monsters Mash, that's a good one. I see you like your double digits, MMs and H&H. That's what I thought, very much like Latakia being a process of smoking something. The Golden Triangle in Louisiana is famous for its perique. Yeah, Louisiana perique is the one that we go for. Francesco, you're getting really close to getting blocked. And I wouldn't start with Harriet if I was you. Unless you want to be an aerated pizza. Oh no, here we go. Mr. Kopecky. Yes, we need a little bit of law and order here. Acadian perique. I must be honest, I tried them. McBaron's Acadian. Didn't really like it. Probably because it was burley-ish. Mr. Kopecky, I think you have somebody. Tim would like to say hello to you. Young male with pipe and will smoke. Has his own apartment. Straight perique, yes, that would be a fun smoke. Good evening, Chris. Well, I'm getting to the end of this Laurel Heights. I think that it's a... Oh, cool. Good to hear that, Mr. Kopecky. Kim Piper is in the house. Anthony Candell, hello from California. Hello back to you. Hello from London. So, this Laurel Heights, I have to say the first half was a lot better than the second half. And I think that with some time, this will be a pretty stonking smoke. There, there are a little bit of some harsh edges, but it's a nice smoke. It's got some interesting flavour levels, and I think it's quite a complex smoke. So nice smoker's cough, yeah. Ollie on YouTube. Hey Ollie, Ollie. Let's have a little bit of libation. Right. What was the VR about, Tim? I think he's hitting on you, Tim. A fetching silver mask. Well, I tell you what. I don't have a smoker's cough, generally speaking. The odd little rattle, but thankfully I don't have a smoker's cough. At least that's what I'm saying anyway. You can hear it's really dry. He said, coughing and spluttering his guts. Yeah, so question is now, another bowl, which is a bit much, 3 in a bowl. Parody VR. There's a lot of parody VRs around. We'll mention no names. Yes, cherry on top, absolutely. In a way, that's why I've said this before, I do worry about smoking in this room. I smoke in the car a lot with the windows open, but I do have extraction in this room, so at least there's that. But still, you're right, absolutely. If you're smoking indoors, there's always going to be some passive inhalation. Happy New Year from Worcester. Hi Mitch, is that Worcester in the UK? Mitch. West Midlands, cool. Do you go to any pipe clubs anywhere? How far are you from Nottingham? See you, Tim. Thanks for joining. I used to actually have, I'll show you, just give you a quick view. See up there, in the extractor, the wall is looking horribly brown up there. That's my extraction. I used to have a fan up there blowing across the room, creating a kind of a cross breeze, which was basically to drag up the smoke, which I think it did help. But it also served to sort of make a bit of a swirly sort of effect, so the smoke moved around the room as well. Well, you know, you could go to Nottingham every so often. You know, an hour is a fair old hike. But I must be honest, I go to the Pipe Club of London, and you'd think, being in London, you know, that it's not too far. But for me to get there, it still takes me 40 minutes. Even though it's in London, it takes me 40 minutes to get into town, usually, most days. So it's not that much different, really. It's a shame that there aren't clubs sort of closer in, so that people could kind of migrate from one club to another and just join people and get to know different people, you know. That's a big shame. It would be nice to circulate a little bit around the other clubs. The Nottingham Pipe Club is probably, I would say, the busiest one after the Pipe Club of London, although it may even be bigger. It may have more people which join it, but I think the Pipe Club of London is more established. But they do meet up in Nottingham a few times, the Pipe Club of London, and they go to Blake Marbriars, which is probably a bit nearer to you. Chris, I don't know how far you are, but I know that Tim and his mate, I can't remember his name, have tried to put together a club in Leeds. So I don't know how far you are from that. And I think that in Newcastle, up the Toon, way, Newcastle, they do meet every so often in the Cuban Cigar Club in Newcastle. That's cool, Harriet. It's really nice if you can go to a club. Our one meets this Tuesday. I'm hoping that I'll be able to go. I might not be able to go, but I'm hoping that I will. I've got a wedding that I'm working at on Monday, and I've got a wedding again that I'm working at on Wednesday. So it's going to be a busy time, and my wife is actually going up to Newcastle for my nephew's wedding, which I can't attend because I'm doing a wedding myself. So I'm kind of babysitting because not all my kids are going. So I'm not sure. It's a bit up in the air as to whether I'll be able to go on Tuesday, but I'm hoping that I can. Northeast Piper, right, okay. Yeah, get in touch with Northeast Piper, because I think they do meet up every so often. I don't know if they've got an official pipe club per se, but
But I think they do go there every so often, and I think Stephen Cobbett of the Shire, I think, goes to that as well. He's up in Newcastle area, which is where I met him a while back. I'd really like to go again. It's kind of a shame, because it would have been great. If I would have gone up to this wedding on Monday, then I would have definitely made every effort to meet up again, and maybe got a few other guys together to do a little meet up. But it's not going to happen. Work is work, you know. Yeah, there definitely seems to be a resurgence of clubs and things like that. It's just a shame that so many institutions, pipe smoking institutions, have been messed up so much. A lot of the pipe shows in America have gone by the wayside. You've still got the few that are going, but there used to be so many more. You can see that on YouTube, that, you know, some of them have dropped away, which is a big shame. But there is a resurgence, certainly, but I think starting up a pipe show is really, really difficult. So to see some of them coming back would be great, but I don't know. I think, especially with all the regulations getting tougher and tougher, it's going to be a big ask to start arranging these things. And in the UK, you know, it really would be fantastic if we could have some kind of... I did kind of whimsically think about it, and I mentioned it to Toking Tommy, who arranges the Nottingham Pipe Show, and I was thinking whether or not there's any point in doing one in London, and perhaps trying to get people coming from Europe and maybe even from America. But I mean, London would make sense because it's a central hub and people can travel there, you know, very easily, being London. But it's a huge undertaking, and I think that in the UK there just isn't enough interest to make it viable. And the truth of the matter is, any pipe show starting up won't be viable initially. It's kind of a bit of a long haul, and then even then you don't know whether it'll become successful or not. Yeah, James, that could well be. You could well be right. Well, you're a braver man than me, Pipe Man, to say that, but who knows? Who knows? Dale Piper, cool. Are you intending to come on Tuesday? Or have you just joined to be part of the club, virtually, so to speak? It's really very, very easy and cheap to join. You know, you can join for £25 a year, I think it is, the base price, and it's £25 is £25, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a tin and a half of tobacco, you know. Dale, any chances of you joining us on Tuesday? Not this Tuesday. Yeah, that was the picnic. Well, you would have seen videos from the Peaches, and there was also one from what's his name? The one who just joined, who just went last month, and I missed him. Somebody tell me. Yeah, Harriet, thanks. Philistine, correct. Thank you, Dale. So I don't think he's actually bitten the bullet and joined. He's really looking into it, taking his time over it. But it's a really nice club. We had Sam from GQ Tobaccos there last meet, and I actually had a chat with Sam recently, and I think he's doing. Yeah, I'll show you that in a sec, Sandra. He's completely revamping his website, GQ Tobaccos, and I'm hopeful that I'm going to be meeting up with him and interviewing him, and doing a whole piece on the revamp of his website. I'm hopeful. I hope it will happen. Christine Beresford. Thank you for joining, Christine. Are you a pipe smoker? My desk is a little bit crowded at the minute. Your granddad loves them. Very nice. What does he smoke? Do you know what he smokes and what tobacco he smokes? Or are you just being facetious? I can't spell facetious either, but you can probably find it in the dictionary. Okay, so here's the Mastro de Paya, which I got last month. I haven't smoked it. You want to see my face? Well, I want to see yours. Okay, so here's the Mastro de Paya. And one of the thing that got me really was this line. I really like that. I'm going to try and do that on a pipe that I make at some point in the future. It's got some nice grain. Nice grain on the rim as well. And of course, it's 9mm. So I'm very happy with that. It is acrylic, unfortunately, and I don't really do acrylic, but what I'll probably do is, at some point, if I smoke it, is I will probably put some heat shrink over it, which works very well. Probably this colour. I've got a pack with different colours, but I think this one will work quite well. Either that or black, just to soften that up a little bit. I don't get on with acrylic. I find acrylic stems to be too hard on my teeth. The 9mm, no, the 9mm will draw similarly to a corncob with a filter in it. A lot of people talk about a restricted draw with a 9mm. I don't have that problem whatsoever. I think your draw is really going to depend more on the way you pack your pipe than it will be affected by your filter. There is a certain amount of resistance from the filter, but it's negligible in my experience. And if you compensate for it by the way you pack your pipe, it's of no issue. we all have different experiences with pipes generally, and tobacco, and everything to do with pipe smoking. Some people say that filters, and Art's done a lot of research on this, but some people will say that filters restrict the flavour, restrict the draw, don't really make it any drier. I personally have had completely the opposite. I've had an extremely positive experience. The chief main reason, and I've said this a million times, why I went over to 9mm is purely to deal with tongue bite. I have a super sensitive tongue to tongue bite for some reason, and I've always suffered with tongue bite, and for 2.5 years I suffered. I'm actually quite amazed when I look back that I was still a pipe smoker 2.5 years down the road, because I suffered terribly with tongue bite. And it's one of the reasons why at that stage I was completely devoted to Latakia blends, because Latakia smokes cooler and drier, and generally didn't bite me as much. And Northwoods, for instance, which was my go-to Latakia blend, still bit me a little bit if I smoked it too much. Started smoking a 9mm filter, and it's just dealt with it. 100% of tongue bite has gone. It's very, very rare that I'll get a little bit of a tingle on my tongue these days. It can happen, but generally speaking, it's dealt with tongue bite 100%. Excuse me. Actually, we won't do that over the table. Yeah, I went through a process of trying the various different moisture absorbent materials in order to try and give a new lease of life to my non-filtered pipes. I tried the filter pads, I've tried the Nording stones, I've tried the 3mm filters that you put into the stem. I've tried lots of different things, and I'm sure there's other things as well. But why is that cup dirty? Is that all you could come up with? The cup is dirty is because I had cocoa in there before, chocolate. Yeah, I did when I first, my second pipe that I ever bought was the Savinelli 606, or is it a 616, which was this one, and this one came with filters, with the balsa wood. This is a 9mm one, but it came with 9mm balsas. I used them for a while, but I didn't bother with them. They didn't do anything for me. Well, your corn cobs, you can put in you can put the 6mm filters, the paper filters, the Dr. Grabo filters will go into the corn cobs, and they work to some extent. It's definitely worth a try. To my experience, Canadians won't make a lot of difference. It may help very, very marginally, perhaps to cool the smoke a little bit if you find that your pipes smoke hot. But I don't find that there's a big difference, you know, whether it's Canadian or Lavats or anything like that. You know, you're talking about a smoke travelling that distance or that distance. You know, it's not going to make a lot of difference at all. It's you know, it's milliseconds. I've got 2 Falcon pipes, which was gifted to me by a friend called Jason. And I tried these. I tried them with the little sort of coiled brushes at the bottom, but they are languishing in my bottom drawer because I did not enjoy smoking them. Having said that, they were used, and possibly that's why, I don't know. Maybe I could try one with a new bowl, possibly. You know, I've got the stems, so, you know, they can just be taken off and a new one put on. Perhaps a meerschaum lined one or a meerschaum bowl might be better. But to be honest with you, I've tried so many things, and generally speaking, I always come back to Briar 9mm. I've got Meerschaums in 9mm, and I have to say that the Pipe Club of London Meerschaum is actually a great smoker. This one, I don't know why I haven't smoked it for a while, but this one is the Pipe Club of London from 2018. It's 9mm. You had the option of getting 9mm or not. Beautiful pipe, look at that. This is the Pipe Club of London emblem carved out on the Meerschaum. Stunning pipe. And this is 9mm. And I do enjoy smoking it. But ultimately, if I had to choose, for me it would be a briar pipe every day of the week. I've tried mortar. I have one mortar pipe now, which I can't really say that I've tried it because I haven't broken it in properly or smoked it for any period long enough to make any kind of informed judgment on mortar, so I can't really comment on it. You know what? I'm going to give away those Falcons. How about that? Yeah, Sandro, you've talked about the anniversary pipes. I still haven't smoked mine. I know you keep telling me that I should. They're both 9mm, but they're still sitting in my drawer, so I don't know. It's one of those things where they're beautiful pipes, and they're so collectible because they're 60th anniversary that I just feel that it might be a little bit Philistine-ish to smoke it. Okay, so I think I'm going to give these away. If anybody's interested in Falcon pipes. I'm going to keep one of them just in case. So I'm going to give away the straight stem with 2 bowls. I'm going to keep the bent stem. Some tobacco to go with it. Let's have a look. This is a tin of Samuel Goworth Squadron Leader, which I would say is from around 2013, something like that. Is there anything special about a mortar pipe? I can't tell you yet. Some people absolutely adore them. It's essentially very, very old wood, bogwood, as it's known as. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give away this tin of opening night, which we cracked tonight as well. Do you want to see the anniversary pipes again before we get into this gore? You don't want to see them? Well, which bowl are you talking about, Joe? Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I suppose I could do that. But to be honest with you, the filtration on those is really not up to it for me anyway, so I'm not if I was to try it again, I would start it with a fresh bowl. Right, those of you who are regular listeners will know the discussion we had last time about Hey Bumbling Piper, about the giveaways on my channel. So I'm going to enact those rules, and that's that. So let's go through the list. Anybody who wishes to be in the giveaway, please say I'm in. So that will be after Pipe Tree's comment. He says Paul. Anybody who says I'm in, with the caveat of the aforementioned, will be in. Grab a piece of paper. Okay, Cherry, no worries. Okay, so we go back to Tree's comment. Okay, so number 1 is Land Deutsch. Number 2 is Morgan Steel. Number 3 is Elwood Maker. Number 4, Dale Piper. Who's Mitch? Anybody know Mitch? Mr. Kopecki gets in by dint of Tim. Number 6, Curmudgeon Piper. Cheers, David. Number 7, Pipe Man. Number 9, Joe Fish. Somebody did say as well, I got an email from somebody who said that I should exclude people who have already won in the recent giveaways, but I'm not going to do that at this stage. I really have to think through how to do all these without offending anybody, and since I haven't made that as a rule, everybody, with the caveat mentioned before, everybody's in. So Joe Fish, Cherry on Top said he's out. Pipe Grump is in. Number 11, Pipes, etc. Okay, Roberto Bacceretti, although we didn't hear from you, I'm going to put you in because your channel looks decidedly pipe related. Bacceretti. We'll get to you in a sec. Sorry, just give me a sec. Pipes and pictures. Crazed Night. No, you can't please everybody, Elwood. Definitely not. I'll tell you what it is. I spoke about it last time and I felt very guilty. I felt very bad about it. I did talk to people afterwards about it because I felt so bad. I really felt awkward about it afterwards. And I'll tell you what it is. I'm not wishing to be nasty. I'm not wishing to be whatever the word is. I just want to make sure that it's going to YTPCs and not what I call gore trawlers. People who have absolutely no relevance to the YTPC, but just simply are on, channels to get free stuff. And it's impossible for me to just please everybody, but I really don't want to waste the stuff. I don't want to waste it, send it to somebody who's going to stick it on eBay. That's not what this channel's about. That's not what the YTPC is about. That's all it is. So again, I'm not being nasty. If I exclude somebody tonight and they feel that they are, then, we'll get to know them and they'll take part. It doesn't have to be on my channel, but on other channels. But if I go quickly now to a channel and I see that there's 0 pipe content, I'm not including them. It's as simple as that. I don't mean that in a nasty way, so please don't take offense. I feel bad saying it, but this is, I want to share this with people who are part of this community. Anyway, enough said. Sorry, it's taking a bit longer because I'm just having a quick look at some of the channels. Okay. Joe, I'm happy for you to be in. It's entirely up to you. If you want me to leave you out, I'll leave you out. I'm happy to have you in. You're in the list anyway. Yeah, I do feel sore, to be honest, Tree, even though, I do feel bad. I do feel bad about it. I don't like making conditions and things, but it kind of goes against the grain on the YTPC, but anyway. Alright, so let's just run through the numbers. So at number 1, we have Land Deutsche. At number 2, we have Morgan Steele. Number 3, we have Elwood. At number 4, we have Dale Piper. Number 5, we have Mr. Kopecky. Number 6, Curmudgeon Piper. Number 7, Cavendish Piper. At 8, we have Pipeman. Coming in at number 9, Joe Fish 65. Number 10 is the Grumpy Pipe. Number 11 is etc, etc, etc. Number 12 is Roberto Bacciaretti. It sounds good enough to eat. Number 13, Pipes and Pictures. Number 14, Crazed Night. Okay, let us get the other phone. Where is it? Here we are. Okay, so we have 14. Drum roll, somebody. Okay, just a reminder, it's a Falcon stem, 2 bowls, both used, 99.9% of a tin of opening night, and an unopened, aged tin of Squadron Leader. Thank you, Josh. So 1 to 14, are we ready? Here we go. Number 6, Curmudgeon Piper. Have you won something from me before, Curmudgeon Piper? If you have, well done, you've won again. I shall put my email address once again and just get in touch. I tried the Falcon once or twice. The particular one I tried I didn't like. I do need that extra carbon filtration, that's the problem. Right, there's my email address. Get in touch, send me your particulars, and we'll get it off to you. I'm fully up to date with all my packages now. Everything's been sent out. Bar the same one as before, which is arts, but that's going to take some time for a reason which will be established in the future. No, it's not about making videos, Captain Cavendish. That's not the issue at all. But as I say, it's impossible for me to. If you heard what I said before, it wasn't about making videos. It's as I say, I do feel bad about it. But it's impossible for me to know everybody. I hope that we'll see you again. I hope you won't feel offended. We'll see you again, and we'll have a chat, and we'll, take part in the community a little bit. And I won't have an issue with it at all. And I don't have an issue with it. As I say, maybe I got it wrong, and you're, well known in the community. But again, I apologise if you are. Nothing, no offence meant or intended. And I hope you'll feel able to join us once again in the future. The science behind the Falcon is essentially it's the original system pipe. You get a steel pipe, and you can get all number of shapes of bowls. Which there's a little like a pipe cleaner that goes in the bottom there. It grabs your moisture. So essentially, it's a calabash really. It's the same principle as a calabash, and you can just there's literally scores of different bowls that you can buy. Essentially, it's a system pipe. No problem, Curmudgeon Piper. My pleasure. So with that, I think we will call it a day. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks Joe, Curmudgeon, Boris, Pipe Tree, Land, Captain Cavendish, if you still forgive me, Anthony Candell. Didn't see you before, welcome. Swaggy P, Bumbling Piper, Mr. Kopecky, James Kelly, Dale Piper, Elwood, Pipes etc., Bumbling Piper, Morgan Steele, Louise Two Shoes, I think. Mystic 860. Oh, I have seen you, Mystic, because somebody mentioned you about your copyright about Match's name. So I have seen you before. So remind me next time, and you'll be in. And everybody else, David Nixon, cherry on top. Everybody else, thank you very much for joining. Much appreciated. I apologise again if I upset anybody. Not intended. And we'll catch you again soon.